Hey everyone, so I'm Dylan, and I decided to do my final project on exercise and childhood and youth. And I picked this one because being home the past few weeks, I realized when I do gym time with my niece how important exercise really is to people of the younger age groups. So, yep, let's get started. So, basic definition: what is childhood? Childhood can be defined as just really the state of being a child. So, because of this broad definition, childhood can cover a large age range, but it can be broken down into several subdivisions. And these subdivisions can include like infancy, birth to 2 years, early childhood, 3 to 8 years, middle childhood, 9 to 11 years, and then like late childhood or adolescence, 12 to 18 years. And then, so what is youth? The definition of youth is a period between childhood and the adult age. And doing the research, I couldn't really find a specific age range for youth. It typically varied just really per website that I visited. But I found that the United Nations considers it to be 15 to 24 years of age. And then they really just do this for statistical purposes. And then, similar to childhood, youth can be broken up into smaller portions, including early adolescence, 14 and below, middle adolescence, 15 to 17 years, and then later adolescence or early adulthood, 18 to 24 years. So, some statistics dealing with childhood and youth, and then like exercise. So, in today's world, the number of youth and adolescents is higher than ever before. And in 2017, 73.7 million children under the age of 18 were living in the United States alone. And then of this population, 18.5% were already considered to have obesity. So not only were they overweight, but they were already considered to have obesity. So they're already two steps uh, like above average, I guess. So some significance about like why we should care about exercise in the youth. The U.S. spends approximately $14 billion annually on childhood obesity alone, and currently children are spending an increasing amount of time looking at screens each day, and so these can be like computers, tablets, phones, video games, televisions, anything like that. And exercising while young is extremely important because adolescents who are overweight were shown to have a 70% chance of maintaining these weight issues into their adulthood. So if they have an inactive lifestyle at childhood, it can stay with them until adulthood and late adulthood, and then it can even rub off on some of the surrounding individuals. So if like some of their family members, or maybe if they have kids of their own, their kids will become inactive, and then it'll just keep moving the cycle along. It's also really important because only 1 in 3 children are participating in physical activity every day. So there's two of them are living some type of a more sedentary lifestyle. And the early childhood phase is a crucial window of opportunity to help develop motor competence into children. And then it's because in this phase, their perceived motor competence is still really high. And then if children are not active, their motor competence tends to lower. And then this causes their perceived motor competence to lower. And if this happens, they won't want to stay as active because they may be embarrassed or have low self esteem, or just not want to do it. And then uh, instead of being active and exercising, they'll spend more time living a sedentary and inactive childhood. And then for those of you what who don't know what motor competence is, it is the mastery of physical skills and movement patterns that enable enjoyable participation in physical activities. And perceived motor competence is defined as an individual's awareness and belief of their capacity to perform both gross and fine motor tasks. So some benefits of exercising in youth and childhood. I put these as some of the most important, kind of looking at it through like a parent aspect or the child aspect itself. And some of these benefits included improving academic scores, providing socializing time, improving a child's posture, lowering the stress a child may have, and then improving or increasing a child's self-esteem, which is very important. Some additional benefits. So, exercise for youth also has many risk-reducing effects on diseases such as like cardiovascular disease, obesity, diabetes, and even some forms of cancer. And participating in exercise for children and youth can also boost their like muscular strength or overall strength, reduce bone injury or increase bone strength, enhance body composition, and improve cardiovascular fitness. So really, a lot of the benefits that we see ourselves that exercise provides for us, it we see it provide for childhood and youth age groups as well. So types of exercise for children and the younger population, exercise typically comes in a structured and unstructured format, whereas for us as older adults, it usually just comes in a structured format. Structured exercise is any activity that is planned and intentionally directed by someone like a coach or a parent. And it includes sports like baseball, basketball, gymnastics, gym class, any daycare activities such as Camp Breckie here on campus, and then any individual training sessions. And unstructured exercise is any activity that has no plan or agenda. These exercises are often seen as the free time for younger children, and the unstructured exercise includes like recess, hide and seek, riding a bike, playing outside with friends, playing on a trampoline, anything of that sort. So the exercise guidelines for children and youth: to improve muscular strength, cardiovascular fitness, cardiorespiratory strength, and metabolic health, children and youth between 5 to 17 years of age should participate in at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous intensity physical activity each day. And going daily, any amount of physical activity greater than 60 minutes will provide an additional improvement to the child. And most of the exercise should be aerobic, just running around and staying active in that form. But vigorous intensity activity that can help strengthen muscle and bone should be incorporated at least 3 days per week. So, being an uncle myself and knowing that a lot of us may have younger cousins or siblings or be uncle and aunts or parents ourselves, I thought it would be good to put some helpful tips to follow while implementing exercise into like children and youth age groups. So most children participate in exercise really to meet new friends or hang out with current ones, just have fun and then learn something new. They don't really participate to compete and win yet. And then be sure to recognize individual differences and capabilities in children of the same age range. So don't get frustrated if one child can't do something as good as another child, because this could lower the self-esteem of the said child, and then he or she may want to stop being physically active and exercising in general. And then offer a variety of creative activities, and tying into this, give children freedom to learn and explore by themselves. Don't just constantly be their shadow and see what they're doing and how they're doing it and making sure they're doing it the right way. Just let them be kids. And then finally, I think the most important, be a good role model and become physically active yourself. So being an uncle, I've learned that little kids tend to do as they see. So if they see you being physically active and exercising, they'll either want to be exercising with you or they'll want to do it by themselves to be like you. So I provided a short summary of the slides that I've done so far. So, as screen time for children rises, the risk of obesity and other diseases may increase as well. Exercise is extremely important and beneficial for childhood and youth. With exercise, children can perform better on tests, feel less stressed, improve factors like body composition and muscular strength, and reduce the risk factors of cardiovascular disease, sports injuries, and even some cancers. And then just as we have exercise guidelines, children and youth have exercise guidelines they should follow as well. And using both structured and unstructured forms of physical activity provides multiple options for children to stay active. And then lastly, most children participate in activity to learn new skills or develop friendships. So be sure to allow children the freedom and creativity of play without really having to worry about competition and just winning. So I kind of wanted to get an inside perspective about exercise and physical activity with the youth and childhood age ranges. So I decided to Zoom meet with my niece, who's a 6-year-old kindergartner, and then one of my younger cousins, who I think is in 5th grade and 10 years old, and to see kind of like what they thought about like physical activity and exercise in general, and if they like it, if they don't like it, and just kind of what their perspective was. So I interviewed my niece Noelle. As you can see, I call her N Dog. But I just asked her some pretty basic questions that I thought she could answer, but that would also help me with this project. So I said, the first one was, what does your school do for physical activity? And she said they have gym class, they have recesses, sometimes the kids just run, and they have sport camps. So I know a big one is basketball camp, usually in the winter and the summer. And I know that she was in a mini cheerleading camp this past winter. And so I asked her what her favorite part about exercising was, and she said she wasn't really sure, but then she said that it gets her hyped and she has a lot of fun when she does it. And then I asked her how often she watches TV or plays on tablets or plays video games or etc. And she told me somewhere in between 10 and 20 minutes a day. But as you see, I have that asterisk because she lied to me. I don't know how much she does, but I definitely know it's more than 10 and 20 minutes. But I thought it was kind of funny because she yelled at my sister when my sister tried to change that answer. And then question, do you like being physically active and playing outside or having screen time more? And then she said, I like both of them a lot, but she would pick going outside if she had to choose. And then I asked her if she had any additional comments, and she said, exercise is fun because it makes you strong. And then she said her stomach felt like lava and asked if she could leave, and I said yes. So that was the end of the first interview. I don't know, I thought it was pretty funny. And for the second interview, it was with my cousin Nash, and I asked him some different questions because I figured he could handle them better than a kindergartner could. So I asked him some of the exercise methods that he uses, and he was very proud to say that he does push-ups and sit-ups. And then he said that he plays basketball, he plays soccer, and then he plays baseball. And I asked him some of the general reasons he exercises, and he gave me 2 reasons. It's not to win or to compete. It's he exercises to get stronger and then just to play with his friends. And then I asked him if he thought his school does a good job making sure that the children stay active throughout the day. And he said sure, but it kind of depends. And then he said that they have gym and stuff, and then that sometimes in class he has to carry some extra things so that it helps him. And then I asked him if he could pick between exercise and screen time, which would he pick and why? And he's a really active individual, but I was kind of surprised by this answer. I really thought he was just going to stick to gaming because that's constantly seems to be what he does. But he said he likes gaming more, but he would pick soccer because he's better at soccer, so he'd want to play it. And I asked him if he had any additional comments, and he said exercise is hard work. So the test question that I came up with for my, and this is my works cited in the last slide. So I hope you all have a wonderful last 2 weeks of class. I hope everything goes well and you stay safe. And I will bid you goodbye.